Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Melissa Jones, and I am an assistant professor of psychology at Brigham Young University. I'm joining you today to talk about how BYU's clinical psychology program meets the requirements for a group specialty certification, and to talk to you a little bit about how your academic program could also meet some of those requirements. So first of all, I want to tell you a little bit about our program. BYU's clinical psychology program has been around for quite a while, and it is an APA accredited clinical psychology PhD program. Every student completes a number of courses, including the following 4 therapy courses. So these are the 4 courses that directly teach about how to perform psychotherapy. The first is Psychotherapy 1, and that's a theories and skills course. So in that class, they learn about different theories of psychotherapy and learn to practice all the different skills that are involved in delivering psychotherapy. The second class that everyone takes is a cognitive behavioral therapy class. Third, they get to choose whether they want to take child and adolescent psychotherapy or mindfulness and psychotherapy. And they choose that depending on what track they're on, if they want to focus on working with children and adolescents, or if they're going to work with adults. Finally, everyone takes Psychotherapy 4, which is a group psychotherapy class that I'm going to be talking more about in a minute. In addition to these 4 psychotherapy classes where they learn the didactic information, they also complete a clinical practicum every semester of the years that they're in residency at BYU, and those clinical practica are under the supervision of a faculty member. So I want to tell you a little bit about the group psychotherapy class. This has been taught by Gary Burlingame for over 20 years and has been a very successful and popular class. He structures the class based on providing an evidentiary foundation for each of the topics in the syllabus. And the topics in the syllabus include effectiveness of group psychotherapy, patient selection and composition, structuring a group, working on cohesion and development of a group, talking about norms and rules, mechanisms of change, techniques, and protocols. And so at the end of every semester, class members leave with a file folder full of measures that guide their clinical practice, as well as a list of protocols for lots of different kinds of groups that they may be practicing with in the future. Also, every semester, classes are given a choice if they want to spend the entire 3 hours on a didactic portion, or if they want to have an experiential group that also illustrates the evidence-based practices that are in the syllabus. And pretty much every semester, students choose to also have an experiential portion of group, which gives them the chance to sort of practice and see and observe the skills that they're learning. So in addition to taking this class and doing practicum, oftentimes our students get really interested in pursuing further group training. So we provide a lot of opportunities for our students to do that through what we call externships or clerkships, which is just a fancy way of us saying it's the work that our students do outside of our training clinic, the comprehensive clinic. And outside of their practicum within the clinic. So some of the externships that provide this training are the BYU Counseling Center, where they do groups on a lot of things ranging from DBT to OCD to sexual trauma, crisis, things like that. They also run groups at the Utah State Hospital, both process groups and DBT groups. So the Utah State Hospital is for the most part an inpatient treatment center. They run groups at Balance Health and Healing, which is an eating disorder treatment center. Within our own comprehensive clinic, they sometimes run DBT groups or groups focusing on faith and sexuality or faith transitions. They do a number of DBT groups in different private practices throughout our community. They do some groups at our pain clinic. They run groups at the Veterans Administration, the VA, and sometimes they have the opportunity to run groups for couples. So we keep an eye on our community and on our training sites and try to facilitate ways that our students can get some group training and some group hours from sites that are reputable and that have really good supervision. So I want to talk a little bit about how we integrate this program, our program, with the group specialty guidelines. So here on this page, I have a list of the didactic content requirements that are required in order to attain the group specialty certification for an academic program. And as you can see, almost all of these are actually covered in the psychotherapy class that we teach at BYU. So things like history and development, theories and systems, just going through that list. group development theories and process, we make sure that each of these topics are taught explicitly in the didactic portion of the group psychotherapy class. Now, there's a few things that are outside of the group psychotherapy class, and that's these last two bullet points that are bolded. So the first is supervised practice in leading groups, for example, practica, and consultation and supervision theories, issues and skills relevant for groups. So while those things aren't necessarily taught in the group psychotherapy class, they're things that people get experience doing through their practica, through their clerkship and externships. And it's something that our program provides the opportunity to do, and students can buy into it. So just by the fact that our program provides these opportunities, we qualify for that group specialty certification. I will say that the didactic requirements are 96 hours, and typically one group psychotherapy class is about 48 hours. So if you have two psychotherapy classes, 2 3-credit classes, it would qualify for that. Our students just take the one formal class, but then get the remainder of the didactic training in their supervised practice, in leading groups, in supervision for leading groups, case consultation, things like that. So we provide that opportunity. There's also experiential requirements in order for people to qualify for the group specialty certification. So in order to qualify, our program needs to provide the opportunity for students to experience at least 50 contact hours as a group leader and 30 hours of supervision across the 4 years of training. And that includes our practicum site, which is what we do in our clinic, and also all of the other externship and internship sites that people participate in. And so by providing the opportunity, by giving the opportunity for lots of students to participate in these groups and run these groups at lots of different externship sites, we're allowing people to have the opportunity to gain these hours if they want to have the group specialty certification. So again, students take the group class and then become interested in further group training, and they get this experiential training through lots of different places in our community. My recommendation to you is, if you want to have your program qualify for this, is to start building those connections, or at least facilitate the connections that you have right now, and look for opportunities for students to do more group training and group delivery in the places where they're currently doing clinical practice. There are some really great positive outcomes for our program of having such a strong training program in a group specialty. So one is that our students routinely obtain internships and postdocs that enable them to continue their training in group psychotherapy. And then even after those postdocs, when they enter the job market, they're prepared to help with problems in accessibility to service with the jobs that they can obtain, because they're able to provide group therapy. So oftentimes our students are hired in places where the demand for clinical services is higher than the ability to provide that. And by coming in and having such a great group therapy expertise and specialty, they're able to meet the needs of that program or that clinic and develop programs that meet the client's needs. And I can think of a lot of examples of students from our program that have done this, that have sort of become recruited by different organizations specifically because of their expertise in group psychotherapy. Another benefit of having this group's program specialty is that it draws qualified candidates to our program. We often have applicants for our program that are interested in pursuing research, but also clinical work in group psychotherapy. And by providing that group specialty, we're able to recruit students who are specifically interested in that. So I want to tell you just a little bit about mapping our experience of my existing program onto the group specialty structure. So I was given this group specialty council checklist. And as I went through the checklist, it was easy to see that our program as a whole, not specific students, but our program as a whole provided the opportunities that were required to meet the requirements for the group council checklist. I also loved it when they created a Qualtrics tool because that was able to be a little bit clearer in saying what we needed to do and what what we have done and what was still needed to do. So I encourage you to check out the group specialty checklist in the Qualtrics tool if you have access to it. Go through it, and my guess is you will be really surprised that your program already provides opportunities that match the expectations for the group specialty checklist. There might be a few extra things you need to do, but my guess is that many of the programs that are already existing actually meet more of these qualifications than we expect. I wanted to just make a few points about getting started with the group specialty certification. So first is to get your hands on that checklist in the Qualtrics tool just to see where you're at and what's needed. I also think it's really essential when you're doing a group specialty to start with quality basic psychotherapy training as a precursor to group therapy training. So take a look at your syllabus, take a look at what you're already doing, make sure that you're providing quality individual psychotherapy training so that people can then take those skills and use them in group psychotherapy. You need to have at least one quality group class to provide that didactic experience for your students. It's also a great idea to start facilitating quality community placements with good supervision. So as you're looking for places where your students can work and provide clinical services in order to gain those hours, also making sure that they have an opportunity to provide group psychotherapy and are supervised by people who are really good at supervising group psychotherapy that have a lot of experience in that. So again, start by going through the checklist. My guess is that your program meets more requirements than you expect. And I wish you the best of luck in qualifying for the group specialty certification. Thanks.